world. My name is Verinia Michalun. Clearly, we are being recorded. I lead the work on governance and strategic planning at the Center for Entrepreneurship, SMEs, Regions and Cities at the OECD, and have been working on regions and industrial transition for quite a few years, since 2017. And I'm very pleased to moderate this workshop, or this kickoff today. I would like to just go over some housekeeping details before we go into opening remarks. Please, everyone, know that this is recorded, and it's being recorded for stakeholders who cannot be here today but would like to hear what the exchange is all about. I'd also like to remind everyone that there is going to be a question and answer session after both roundtables, and to ask your questions and speak, please hit your reaction button and then the raise hand button. It seems to have gotten more complicated. You can also use the chat to ask questions or to make any statement that you'd like with respect to what's being discussed. And I'd also like to remind our speakers that we have a very full agenda and we must respect the time. So when we've said 1 minute, we really mean 1 minute. And I will probably interject if it's going over. So I don't mean to be rude, but I was told I have to be strict. And so with that, I'd like to formally open this launch event for Regional Development Policy for Industrial Transition, a Transatlantic Perspective, by hearing from Anna Wagner, who is head of the Policy Development and Evaluation Unit at DG Regio in the European Commission. Anna, please.
Thank you very much, Varinia, and indeed, it's a pleasure to be with you all. I'm delighted to open this event because this is something that we've been waiting for quite some time. I'm happy to do this with Dorothée and Dupré, and let me start by welcoming all participating regions from the side of the Commission, and not only the partners from the European Union, but also from Canada and the States. This is excellent, and let me just stress that it is also great to see the very diverging profiles and experience of the regions that are involved in this project. Some of them are very advanced in their transition processes and in the thinking, and some even already engaged in transatlantic cooperation, some less. But all of you are very committed in terms of advancing regional development policy for industrial transition, obviously in your own context, and that's very important, the own context of regions here. Cohesion policy is the main EU investment policy. I'm not telling secrets about the key objective that the policy has, which is about reducing regional disparities and development gaps across Europe's regions. The key objective is, of course, boosting competitiveness and addressing all major transition challenges, and also help building resilience to shocks. The policy has been in the forefront of supporting industrial transition and regional innovation ecosystems for quite some time. The reality of our regions is kicking really in a sense that it is more and more clear, and there is more and more evidence that all the challenges, be it in the context of technological evolution, AI, global trade patterns shifting, geopolitical instability, all these challenges can only be addressed with an appropriate and tailor-made strategic approach, which takes into account the regional context. But the challenges themselves that we face in Europe are pretty similar from this context with what is being seen on the other side of the Atlantic. And that really calls for joining efforts and exploring together how best to support regions in the transition process, investigating new approaches, and most importantly, to be able to seize the opportunities also that are involved here. It is increasingly evident that one needs cross-sectoral policy interventions in order to successfully manage industrial transition, reducing reliance on declining sectors, advancing innovation, job and skills development, and very often demographic challenges as well. And precisely this multi-sector approach is the one that ensures that the regional economy evolves and becomes more resilient, competitive. We've done a lot of work with the OECD. We've done a number of projects on regional industrial transition ever since 2017. But what we particularly appreciate and what we are particularly excited about in the context of this particular new project is that this brings in an additional dimension in building bridges for a shared learning opportunity and cooperation across the Atlantic. And that's a unique element and an important value of it, even if we are already in a context where we have projects and calls and pilot approaches, including to build interregional innovation investments. So what we most want to make sure with this project happens is the expansion of this transatlantic dimension. And it is very clear that these common challenges call for common exploration, learning from one another, sharing experience, knowledge, and hopefully build a trustful, solid cooperation in view of course, advancing in industrial transition and regional development. So I wanted to thank again the OECD for taking up this new phase of our common work on regional industrial transition. And in particular, I want to thank the participating regions, and I look forward to the fruitful exchanges that this session today and overall the project will bring. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna, very much. And now I'd like to give the floor to Dorothée Alain-Dupré, who's head of the Regional Development and Multi-Level Governance Division here at the OECD. Dorothée.
Thank you, Varinia, and thank you very much, Anna, for your introductory remarks and for setting the scene so clearly. Good afternoon, good morning to all. I'm very pleased to welcome you all at this launch event, and I would like, of course, to start by thanking the European Commission and DG Regio for partnering with the OECD on this topic on industrial transition for many years, as Anna mentioned, and for initiating this important new project. I would like to warmly thank all the regions that are with us today and that will participate in the project. 14 regions are on board, 7 from Europe, 7 from North America, Canada, and US. The level of engagement in this project and interest has been extremely high, which show how relevant and timely this project is, especially at a time when the global economic outlook is increasingly challenged. I want to take a moment to look back at the outcomes of our 2 previous projects, share some of the lessons learned, and then set out the objectives of what we are pursuing with this new project. So, as Anna mentioned, our partnership started in 2017, and this is actually the 3rd project that we are conducting on industrial transition. The first project identified policies to address transition challenges, for example, labor policy to help workers transition to future-oriented jobs, among others. The second project delved into the governance and the tools to support the implementation, such as policy experimentation. These projects showed us that there is not a single magic recipe for successful regional industrial transition. There are many possible pathways, But there is one thing that is true everywhere. It is that industrial transition is not fate. It is a policy choice, and one that regions need to manage proactively. And for regions to achieve successful transition, 3 lessons stood out from the previous project. First, transition is regional. Advanced manufacturing, clean tech supply chains, and data-driven services grow within specific ecosystems and places. While national policy sets the direction, it is regional and local institutions that orchestrate the right mix of skills, infrastructure, land, and innovation assets that attract investment and retain people. These policy mixes are by definition place-based and cannot be designed solely from the national level. Second, transition must be broad-based and cross-sector, as Anna mentioned. It is not about lifting a few anchor firms or underperforming central district. It must engage the entire region, rural, metropolitan, and span across policy areas, from attracting investment and providing infrastructure to upskilling the workforce and creating mobility-friendly environments that draw in talent. This holds true regardless of a region's size. And third, transition requires bringing different actors together to act in concert. To succeed, everyone must pull in the same direction towards shared goals: workers, firms, research institutes, local governments, civil society, and citizens. That takes strong governance and real collaboration. So this new phase of our work, this new project, introduces 2 innovations. First, a shift in focus from analyzing problems, the what, to identifying successful pathways, the how. We want to understand how regions can transition successfully, which strategies, tools, and partnerships are helping regions lead effective, inclusive industrial transition. And second, the transatlantic dimension that Anna extensively mentioned, bringing together regions from Europe, the US, and Canada offers an exceptional opportunity to learn across contexts, exchange practices, and foster lasting international partnership. This international partnership dimension is actually twofold. There is the twinning dimension, where the 14 regions with shared interests or common challenges can learn from each other and to build bridges. And second dimension, this broader group learning with all the regions on horizontal topics such as strategic governance for transition, navigating technology changes, pursuing energy transition, addressing the impact of demographic shifts on labor market, and so on. And I know we will have a first meeting workshop with all the regions at the end of October. So this project brings together a rich and diverse mix of participating regions. Some are global frontrunners in industrial innovation. Others bring deep experience in managing complex transition or have already built strong transatlantic ties. Through the various project activities, every region can tap into this diversity, gaining practical insights, sharing their own path, and building a strong network that continues to deliver value well beyond this project. So your experiences will also serve as a source of inspiration for all OECD regions beyond this network. Based on the lessons learned, the OECD will design a policy framework that can support regions beyond this project navigate their transition processes. So this is your project, your opportunity. The strength of this project lies in your active participation, openness to share and to learn, and in the lasting relationships that will be built throughout this transatlantic network. So thanks again to all for your very active engagement, and we look forward to hearing from you, from the regions, and to working with all of you. Thanks a lot, and back to you, Varinia.
Thanks, Dorothée, and thank you, Anna, very much. Thanks to both of you. I'd like to move into our first session now. And at this point is to invite the participating regions to briefly introduce yourself, basically by outlining your organization or outlining the organization that you represent, your motivation for joining the project, and the main areas of interest that you have in industrial transition. Again, everyone has 1 minute. I have a timer, and I will introduce each one of you individually as we go along. So let's get started. And I'd like to start, please, with Thomas Kiewit, who is the Technical Director of the Stuttgart Region Association in Germany. Thomas, please.
So thank you for having me. I don't want to bother you with the numbers you can see on the slide. The Stuttgart region, the institution which I can represent today, is coined by a generally elected regional assembly. That means our officials, our elected officials, are really policymakers. Our competences are around planning and support of municipalities. We are responsible for parts of public transport in Stuttgart region, for economic development, and also for regional marketing. What we see as the main challenges in industrial transition is to provide the sites, to provide the workforce, even when we see heavy challenges in demographic changes, and of course the connectivity, that means the part of the traditional infrastructure as well as AI and communication infrastructure. We have 25 years of very successful partnership with our friends from the Northern Virginia Regional Commission. And for us, it's really cooperation is crucial as markets and know-how is going global. So the answers we are looking for as planners, as developers, have to be global as well. So thanks again for having us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I'd like to now turn to Dale Medaris, who is the Senior Regional Planner of the Northern Virginia Regional Commission in Virginia in the U.S. Dale.
Thank you so much. So we represent a region equivalent in size and demography to Thomas's. As you mentioned, we've worked together for over 25 years. We're a regional council of governments representing the 13 counties, cities, and towns of the region, about 2.6 million people. Our regional GDP is $302 billion. Were we an independent country, we'd be the 48th largest economy in the world. And what we bring and what we seek is to make global engagement at the local level, regional level, more strategic and purposeful. Our model over the last 25 years, as a result of this collaboration with Stuttgart, has been based and framed around engagement that's strategic, purposeful, and most important, prioritized. And we use 3 core filters. Can we learn and transfer and adopt policy and technical innovations? Second, can we prioritize countries not only on the basis of whether they do things better and from which we can learn that bring benefits to our local governments and communities, but are these partners also invested in our region, because those provides commercial, academic, civil society portals through which the cooperation can be strengthened and channeled. And we seek, again, not for the transatlantic partnership or collaboration to be reactive and ceremonial. It needs to become outcome-oriented, data-driven, and very, very strategic. And over the course of this project, we would be more than happy to share with you ways in which fundamental parts of our climate resiliency programs have been informed by Stuttgart's remarkable green infrastructure energy programs. We're only the second set of local governments in the United States that have mapped foreign direct investment within the boundaries of our own local governments, not at the state level. And then we have some wonderful examples of how we've embraced the transfer of knowledge, policy, and technical innovations in the social realm by adopting workforce training innovations from German apprenticeship programs, but also some memory culture examples as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks very, very much. Now I'd like to pass the floor to Sarah Smits, who is the Business Liaison Manager for Europe and the US at POM Limburg in Belgium.
Exactly.
Sarah.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Sarah from the I'm Business Liaison Manager at the Provincial Development Agency in Limburg in Belgium. We act as the economic engine of the region, developing business parks, building innovation campuses, driving projects in key sectors such as life sciences, energy, advanced manufacturing, and logistics. Beyond infrastructure, we also provide data and insights to guide policy. And we launched strategic initiatives such as supporting the Einstein Telescope project, which is an ambitious international collaboration in cutting-edge physics and technology that will create new opportunities for innovation and industry. But no ecosystem thrives in isolation. International connections are essential to share knowledge, exchange best practices, and accelerate innovation. And by connecting with similar regions worldwide, we can strengthen competitiveness, sustainability, and growth, but not just for our region, and also for our partners as well. So what we hope is we're eager to connect, to collaborate, and to build meaningful international partnerships with real impact. And maybe also to let you know that we focus mainly on automotive and life sciences for connections.
Great. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to turn to Swapna Nair, who is the Senior Policy Advisor for in the Regional and Economic Development Branch of the Ontario Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And you compete with the OECD for very long names.
Thank you so much. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Swapna Nair. I'm the Ontario Ministry of Economic Development, Growth and Trade. It's a pleasure to be here and introduce Ontario. We are Canada's largest provincial economy and one of the top 10 subnational economies in North America. With a population of 16 million and a highly educated workforce, we are a prime destination for innovation and investment. And personally representing the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, our mandate is to foster sustainable economic growth, enhance competitiveness, and create high-quality employment across the province. We're strategically focused on key sectors, including advanced manufacturing, life sciences, technology, agri-processing, forestry, mining, and tourism. Our partner in this project is Limburg, and we are excited to take part in this collaborative project and to learn as well as share experiences with all the jurisdictions participating in this project. So thank you and looking forward to the project.
Thanks very, very much. I'd like to now turn to Paulo Rosso from Emilia-Romagna. Is Paulo? Yes, there he is.
Yes, here I am. Good afternoon, everybody. Great pleasure and honor to be with you in this occasion. I'm a senior advisor within
Paulo?
Yeah?
Okay, we can't see your screen. And we can't see you.
I see. Let me just check what's up here.
Otherwise, maybe you can just present without the slide, or we go to the next person and we come back to you.
Yeah. Yes.
Paulo, I'm happy to share the slide for you if that's okay.
Zoom.
Maybe, Paulo, we go to the next person, we come back to you. Is that okay? Ah, voila. Okay, go ahead. Or did we lose Paulo? Wing, is Paulo connected, or did he somehow get dropped? Did he drop out?
He is connected.
Voila. Okay, go ahead, Paulo.
Yeah, there was some problem in the previous connection. Sorry, there was a sudden interruption in the connection. So
it's okay.
I'm working within. Are you seeing the picture here? I'm
yes.
working in the Emilia-Romagna region as a senior advisor at the Director General for Knowledge, Research, Labor and Business, which is part of the regional government of Emilia-Romagna region. The directorate is dealing with a number of issues which are most relevant to the purpose of our participation in this project: industrial policy, research and technology development, energy, skills and capacity building, as well as coordination of structural funds. So we have a wide range of activities in which we are engaged, and these are all motivating our participation. The region is a region in the north of Italy, about 4.5 million inhabitants, and a number of registered business of about 400,000, which is quite a huge number of very small companies. All these companies, most of these companies are highly oriented to export and to international cooperation, which is one of our motivation. Can you go on with the next, please? Because unfortunately, again, the three all together. Another point, please. And the third one. Perfect. So we have all the picture on the same screen. Sorry for this problem with the connection. Why we are interested in this? Because we are very, very highly interested in general terms in international partnership. And for us, this international partnership is really a must for driving the industrial transition, industrial transformation of our our economy and manufacture. And the way we are considering that being really a major driving force is sharing practices with other regions which are facing similar challenges. With whom? We have a long-standing cooperation with Quebec. Sorry?
We need to, just shortly, very quickly, because we're
absolutely.
quite
we have
out
a
of time.
long-standing partnership with Quebec, in particular on artificial intelligence and other specific high-tech exchange of experiences. And we have similarities and complementarities with Quebec. So we see that as a real major advantage in this cooperation. About what the cooperation? Technology changes is for us real crucial. Artificial intelligence, data science, other things, but also energy and climate transition and urban revival are both relevant for us. So our approach is considering technology change together with the other factors as being altogether very relevant for this exchange of experience. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking a little bit of time. Much.
Thank you, Paolo. I'd like to now turn to Olivier Fournier, who is the International Affairs and Artificial Intelligence Advisor, International Organizations and Forums Division in Quebec, Canada. Olivier, please.
Yes, thank you. You hear me well?
Yep.
Great. So hi, everyone. My name is Olivier Fournier. I'm a representative of Quebec's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Organization, the Forum Division. We are looking forward to participate in the regional development policy for industrial transition initiative, not only because it is a great opportunity to operationalize our MOU with Emilia-Romagna's region, but also because it is in our institution DNA to foster international collaboration. As you can see on the slide, the best way to grasp. Oh, you can't see the slide?
We don't see the slide.
Oh, okay. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. Hit share. Is it better like that?
Yeah, great.
Okay,
thanks.
Perfect. Thank you for noticing me about that. The best way to grasp the scope of what we do is to understand where we are in the world, and we have around 34 government offices in 19 countries. And I will not go back on what Paolo Rosso said about the topics. We are in phase with what he said, and thank you, Paolo, for sharing the topic of interest of both of our regions. And after more than 60 years of extensive foreign relations specific to Quebec, I will end by saying that our staff and our government as a whole is eager to contribute to economic opportunities that fits our values and our identity. And I am pleased to exchange with all of you fellow delegates today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Olivier. I'd like to move now back to Europe and to have Cristina Ojon, who's the Deputy Director General of the SPRI Group in the Basque Country, join us. Cristina.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning. Thank you, Varinia. My name is Cristina Ojon. I'm the Deputy Director Manager of SPRI, which is the Business Development Agency of the Basque government. And together with me is Jose Ormaeche, the Director of the Energy Cluster here in the Basque Country. And we are, SPRI is the agency in charge of developing industrial policy for the Basque Country region in the north of Spain, an industrial region. 25% of our GDP comes from industrial activity, almost 40 if we count also services connected to industry. And the Basque Country has been an example 40 years ago of industrial transition from very heavy industry towards a more technology-oriented industry. Nowadays, we are also facing a new transition toward also based in technology and innovation, a transition towards more added value. but added value not only for the economy, but also for the society and the environment. And we are in this project specifically interested in pursuing our transition towards the decarbonization of the industrial activity. We are partnering with colleagues in Houston through also our partner in the US, EPRI, which is a technology center there. And we have been working with them during the last 4 years in the framework of World Economic Forum project, which is transitioning industrial clusters towards decarbonization. We are very happy to be involved in this initiative to share our work with the other 6 regions in Europe and with the other 6 regions in North America. And really, thank you very much to the European Commission and OECD for selecting us. Thank you.
Thanks, Cristina. I'd like to invite Laura Goldberg, please, who is the Senior Vice President at the Center for Houston's Future in Houston, Texas.
Hi, good morning and good afternoon. I'm Laura, and I'm with Center for Houston's Future. We are a 25-year-old nonprofit, and we are business affiliated, and we do most of our work by bringing business, government, community, and academia together to plan and take action. We focus on issues that are critical to the future of Greater Houston. We've been working in the climate, energy, and energy transition space for 7 years now, and that's why I joined the center to work in this area. And over the past 5 years, we've had a focus on clean hydrogen and developing a clean hydrogen ecosystem. And so we work in a number of work streams in clean hydrogen, and that includes international trade and relationships. And everything we do is really through developing an ecosystem lens. And so for clean hydrogen to be successful, that requires a local, regional, national, and international thriving clean hydrogen market. So we've already had the benefit of being involved in the World Economic Forum work, so that's been great. And then we have worked already across the region with partners in Europe and Asia to help develop robust markets. And what we are looking for out of this project is obviously actionable learnings and just the ability to continue to work to develop markets that work for everybody.
Right. Thank you very much. I'd like to now turn to Päivi Ekdahl, who is the Development Director at the Regional Council of Lapland in Finland. Päivi. Päivi. There we go.
Now I think that you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes. And you can see my screen also.
Yes.
Great. I will just make it a bit different. Yes. Happy to be here. I want to present you just briefly the region of Lapland and us organizations who are involved in this pilot initiative. So here are some facts and figures from Lapland as a region. So I work at the Regional Council of Lapland, and in this pilot we have also the University of Lapland, the Arctic Center of the university, and Tanja Joona will tell you more later in the second session on our goals and issues related. But Lapland as a region, we are a very sparsely populated region. We have about 180,000 inhabitants. The land area of Lapland is about 30% of Finnish land area, which is 100,000 square kilometers. So our population is only 1.8 persons per square kilometer. We have more than 30% of our land area is protected, and we have about 3% of Finnish population in our region. But despite of these kind of challenges, we are very advanced in different economies. The share of Lapland export for whole Finland is about 7%, and tourism is not included into these numbers. So we are producing much more than the share of our population in Finland. And to be noted, of course, we have also the indigenous people. We have the Sami indigenous people, the only indigenous people group in European Union. Here you can see Lapland in a map, and
Päivi,
yes.
Sorry, we need to go really quickly. I'm sorry.
Yes, I will go. This is the only one that I'm going to show, because I just wanted to show our neighboring countries, because this affects our activities very much. So just to notice that we have the longest land border with Russia in the whole European Union, and also Norway and Sweden are very, very close neighbors. But this is all I wanted to say in this phase, and then Tanja will tell you more in later phase. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Päivi. I'd like to now turn to Brigitte Biguet, who is the Executive Director at the Institut Nordique du Québec in Canada, please.
Can you see the slides?
Yep, we can.
Okay, thanks. So first of all, I would like to say that we are very pleased to be part of this great project. I'm Brigitte Biguet, Executive Director of Quebec Northern Institute. We are a unique consortium bringing together over 280 researchers from 16 universities in all disciplines, working hand in hand with Indigenous nations, governments, and industries. Our mission is simple yet powerful: to advance sustainable development of the North by bringing together science, Indigenous knowledge, and local expertise. I'd like to go to the next slide. With a brand new research complex on the campus of Université Laval in Quebec City, opening expected in 2026, and the capacity to support major Arctic expeditions, we provide the tools and networks to drive real impact and be part of this project. As host at the Arctic Council Sustainable Development Working Group Secretariat and the U-Arctic Regional Center, the Quebec Northern Institute is a natural hub for global collaboration. We stand ready to shape the industrial transition through the 6 themes with all of you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Brigitte. I'd like to now invite Katharina Bischoff, who is from the Ministry of Economic Affairs of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany, to take the floor.
Thank you, Lavinia. A warm welcome from my side as well. As mentioned, I represent the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, which is the western state, the biggest of the 16 states of Germany. We have almost 20 million inhabitants, and we have a strong history of being a coal and steel region, and we've also undergone a strong industrial transformation over the years to a very diversified economy. And we look forward to hopefully showing you our state next year, when we would like to host the workshop of the European partners, and my colleague Sebastian will tell you more about this later. In terms of the project, Sabine will tell you a little bit more about the content of our partnership with the state of Minnesota. I just want to give you the frame real quick. So what I think is nice about this project is that it's a project which has been going on for many years, but on many different layers. So there's the official political layer of the state partnership. We have an MOU signed with Minnesota, but then there's also a layer of academia. We'll see 2 partners having the slides later on, Mike and Christoph, of academia and research and student partnerships. Then there's the layer of community partnerships. And then there's also the layer of business partnerships. And we have other partners like the Chambers of Commerce also being included. So it's I think a multi-stakeholder approach, and what we heard earlier, we're trying to create an ecosystem that fosters learning from one another in the area of climate and energy transition. I'm coming to the end now. And yeah, and this is kind of, I think, what we also look forward in sharing, like how to foster multi-stakeholder collaboration within our project, how to learn from one another, especially in climate and energy transition, and also how to possibly expand our networks, which we have with the other great partnering regions that are part of the project. And last sentence, we also have a lot of our project partners from the communities and cities and institutions here on board in the call. And yeah, we're very happy that they are all very interested in this collaboration. Thank you for having us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Katrin. Now, please, Sabine Engel from the University of Minnesota in the US.
Hello, thank you so much for having us be part of this. I am Sabine Engel. I work at the University of Minnesota's Institute on the Environment, and we have been working with the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, in particular with Katrin Bishop and her colleagues, since 2013 to bring together expertise from Germany's industrial region of North Rhine-Westphalia to decarbonize the economy of Minnesota. Minnesota is a state that is in the forefront of moving towards decarbonized economic structures. And we've created a network that is based on the principle of partnership and the idea that together we are smarter. We are all focused on helping, as a university, helping bring science-based information into policy decisions, both at the regional level, at the state level, and at the local level. We are super excited to be part of this group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sabina. And I'd like to now turn to Maya Zindar. One day, Maya, by the end of this project, I will be able to pronounce your name properly.
Not a problem.
Please go ahead.
I will introduce myself. So my name is Maja Čepić-Žnidar. It's a little bit complicated. And I represent the Regional Development Agency of Zasavje in Slovenia. We are a small post-coal region, and our agency coordinates regional development, EU projects, and just transition initiatives. We are currently undergoing a profound transformation from the coal region to the green region with new industries and so on. By joining this project, our motivation is to strengthen international cooperation on industrial transition, to learn from transatlantic and Europe best practices, and to explore pathways for economic diversification and sustainable growth. Our key thematic interests reflect the challenges and opportunities of our region, and they are the just transition from coal to green economy, fostering innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystems, and the revitalization of former industrial and mining sites. In short, Zasavje is becoming the living laboratory of regenerative industrial transformation, showing how even small regions can not only move beyond coal, but also actively restore, innovate, and build a sustainable and inclusive future. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. So thank you to all of you for introducing yourselves. We are only 20 minutes behind, but everyone did a pretty good job at sticking to time, except I didn't. I would like to move us then into our first roundtable session on strengthening transatlantic perspectives for industrial transition. So what this roundtable is going to look at is we're going to hear about some of the existing success stories about transatlantic learning and partnerships for industrial transition. Speakers will have 3 minutes, and you will hear me if you come over 3 minutes because I can't expand that anymore. So please be tight and concrete with what worked, why it worked, and what made it transferable. And then for our participants, perhaps give some consideration as to what are some of those complementarities across the Atlantic and how to turn cooperation into practical outcomes. So I'd like to start by giving the floor to Elisabetta Maini, who is the Area Manager for Research, Innovation and European Networks in Emilia-Romagna. Elisabetta.
Here I am. Sorry, maybe it's better that. Okay.
There you go.
Is here. Perfect. Thank you very much. For us, it's a very good opportunity to share our cooperation activities concerning transatlantic perspectives. You have already noticed that it doesn't skip. Maybe if you can skip, I don't know if you are controlling the presentation. Thank you. Concerning our transatlantic cooperation, you already know about this agreement that has been signed with Quebec in 2024. Which has been at which has been added an agreement between Cineca and another institution from Montreal. We don't have an evaluation of this cooperation up to now because it's still going and it is started just 1 year ago. But for us, it's very important to go on this area of cooperation with a particular stress on technological change, artificial intelligence, and big data. This because our region is deeply engaged in the field of technology change with particular reference with this theme and with particular attention to SMEs. As Mr. Rosso said before, our economy is mainly based on SMEs. Our SMEs are starting now to have a knowledge on digitalization. We found out that only 70% of our SMEs has a very basic knowledge on digitalization. So this is an opportunity to help them with this cooperation in order to reach a higher level to work in an international field because these SMEs have been since let's say last 20 years very well addressed to foreign commerce. If you can skip to the two following one slide to the last one, please. The next one again. These are, I want you to underline the main area of cooperation inside the technological change that we would like to face on which we are very well interested. Of course, these are only suggestions, but just to put on the table what we would like to work on. And in particular, opportunities of cooperation support is supporting SMEs toward this transition. Exchange experiences of technological foresight in order to understand better, to anticipate future trends and challenges. A joint training and talent exchange initiatives. We're now focusing on talent issue because of a demographic problem, but also because of many young researchers and students going out from our region and from Italy to other countries. But also pilot project on energy transition and sustainable industry. Emilia-Romagna has the goal to reach 100% of renewable energy by 2050. And open innovation initiative between enterprises and SMEs. As I said before, these are only some suggestions, but is just to give an example on the field we would like to work on with other regions and in the transatlantic cooperation.
Thank you, Elisabetta, very much. I would like to now give the screen to Véronique Baril, who is the Executive Assistant and International Affairs Advisor at the Department of International Trade Relations at the Ministry of Economy, Innovation and Energy in Quebec, Canada.
Thank you very much for the invitation. So I'm pleased to be here today with my colleague Olivier from the Ministry of International Relations. So you can go to the other slide. So the other one. So to unlock the potential of transatlantic relations, like any collaboration, we think that trust is required among stakeholders. So governments, we can nurture the trust by creating a favorable environment through the such initiative like joint bilateral agreements with specific regions or countries. By such initiative, we allow the regional and local key players to be more inclined to develop the transatlantic collaboration, that they know that they have some support from us, and also the jurisdiction they share joint interests. So trust and common interests are not enough for strong results and lasting partnerships. So we think it's also very important to keep in mind the availability of human and material resources. Without the availability of teams to cultivate their relationships, even the best partnership cannot go effectively. So this is why we think that such network that we developed today with you is a way to have a fair assessment of which key players are willing to invest the most time and resources in a joint project. So one example that we have is the ARLS Sciences Network that we're taking part since 2012. So Quebec is part of this network with 7 regions. So we have Bavaria in Germany, Upper Austria in Austria, Georgia in the United States, Western Cape in South Africa, Shandong in China, and Sao Paulo, Brazil. So we're involved with many levels of corporations, researchers, universities, funding organizations, and government. And 5 topics are developed. So we have digitalization, aerospace, small satellites, the energy group, and also the digital health initiative. So what did we learn from this collaboration? Well, it's important to have an organized structure. So for example, in this network, we have a president, vice president, and a leadership team. So they have the mandate to present ideas to the rest of the groups, to have publications and strategic development. And also we think that permanent staff for dedicated to the projects is a good idea because it keeps the momentum between all the meetings. Also defining a roadmap with major events is really important. So for example, in-person meetings will be vital for a good project because for example, we did a big international scientific summit last year at this time at 2024. And we had about 100 participants from those regions here in Quebec City. So it was a great success. And also the capacity to reach the high-level scientists and research groups is really important. So we're always increasing the participation of external members in our activities, like research institutes and industrial clusters. So we think these are key ingredients for success. And also we've been showcased in the Observatory of Public Sector Innovation of OECD, this network. So we're already showcased as a good example of multi-regional and multi-level research cooperation. So thank you again for the invitation. We look forward for the next steps to be for Quebec in this project.
Thank you very much, Veronique. And now if Tanja Junna from the Arctic Center at the University of Lapland in Finland could join us with her slides.
Thank you. And my colleague Päivi will put the slide there. And as she told you already, Lapland shares the EU's longest border with Russia. And of course, this is making security and resilience our growing priority at the moment. And of course, the geopolitical challenges in general. A lot of state funding at the moment, unfortunately, goes to these growing defense expenses, which is, of course, kind of a challenge for the region. But of course, we hope dual use used in these infrastructure developments, for example. And surprisingly, and I don't know, is it because of climate change or what, but Lapland has been very much target of a tourism sector last year. Everybody wants to come and see the Santa Claus to Lapland, but now we are also discussing the limits of this tourism, as are many Southern European countries. But our tourism is, of course, focused in the wintertime. And there are challenges also in this respect. As already mentioned in several speeches, demographic issues are also our challenges. Providing services in this whole area, which is 1/3 of the whole total Finnish surface, is very difficult to the long distances. and very poor public transportation and high logistics costs. But of course, we hope that digitalization and technological advancements are crucial in overcoming these challenges. So we try to put emphasis on those, and they support this kind of industrial development, of course. And through this project, with our counterpart Quebec, Lapland seeks to further develop the sustainable industrial policies and strengthen resilience and foster this kind of transatlantic collaboration is extremely important to us. As you understand that we have previously collaborated a lot with our eastern neighbor, and at the moment it is not possible at all. So in 2017 to 2018, Eastern and Northern Finland participated to this DG Regio and OECD pilot. And there were a lot of interesting projects developed with these pilots, especially the smart specialization strategy. And through the network, several projects were established. And of course, we hope a similar outcome of this project. And we are very much looking forward for the project and the collaboration. Thank you so much.
Now, Tanya, thank you very, very much. I would like to now move to Dale Medeiros and also Thomas Kiewit, Dale from Northern Virginia and Thomas from Stuttgart, who will present jointly.
Dale, I'm about to start. I think most important is that we have the same size and number of populations, so our two regions can be compared. And that's why we have focused during our 25 years of friendship on many levels and many topics that are all equally relevant for policymakers, to name just a few: climate protection, adaptation to climate change. But also we had an active exchange during the COVID-19 pandemic and also on vocational training. That means the dialogue takes place between policymakers, but also between the staff, the planners. We have webinars and we have common projects also with other partners. So they brought in a group of teachers to have a closer look at vocational training. Dale, if you want to add to this.
I just wanted to say that the collaboration that we've pursued with Stuttgart for the past 25 years has been premised on this very strategic notion for us in Northern Virginia of making global engagement relevant, not event-based, ceremonial. It's data-driven, problem-focused, and goal-oriented. For us, it's been the transfer and adoption of a range of policy and technical innovations like on-site stormwater management, impermeable surface stormwater codes, which have transformed the ways in which we design schools with green roofs or with bioswales or with range of low-impact stormwater development practices. As Thomas mentioned, the strategic approach has extended in recent years into the solidifying and clarifying the economic interconnections. In 2023, for only the second time in the United States, we highlighted or profiled the roles of foreign direct investment within the boundaries of our local governments. LA was the first and we were the second in the country to do this. Germany is the largest investor in our region, and that's relevant because this gives us an opportunity to prioritize what we do, which fundamentally is missing in a lot of global conversations at the local level across the United States. And so we combine that. Can we learn and apply from regions like Stuttgart, which are absolute world-class pioneers, but are also globally engaged, and build into these synergies a justification for why we work? It's not enough just to say we want to work or fostering lessons or learning from each other. You have to answer the question how. And I think the collaboration over the last 25 years offers profound insights into how that collaboration can be undertaken with optimal results. I mentioned in the opening remarks too how this has ventured into some of the social arenas as well, which is the memory culture, and we talk about that later. Just want to add the picture on the left is at Dodona Manor, which was where George Marshall in part scripted the 47 speech at Harvard, which led to the Marshall Plan and the creation of the OECD.
So next slide, please.
Okay, just so you know, we're at 3 minutes. So
yes. I just want to
okay.
focus on that we also expect that we get some new informations that we can pass on to small cities. We have almost 180 cities in our region, and they are doing the main burden in providing sites for industrial development, and they really have to carry out what we understand about transition of the industry. So we want to provide information for those small municipalities that have to serve for global players. Think Porsche or Daimler. They are, of course, based in Stuttgart. They are also based in small towns you never heard of before, and they have to take care that they meet all the needs that are really comes along with playing top-notch services on a global market. So we are really expect that we have to provide better policy and better planning. And next slide, please. We mentioned already a few structural changes in the field of industry, but we also have to take care of renewable energies and adaptation to climate change, affordable housing, transport and communication, you name it. And the main thing we are expecting from this cooperation is new informations, new insights, how we bring it all together, and how can we develop new strategic solutions. Dale.
Just want to agree 1000% and just close by saying one of the things that we're very interested in is we see ourselves as the heart and soul of the digital economy. We're the highest concentration of data centers in the world. We have 260 plus data centers with 100 more on the way. This, as you can imagine, is a vital economic asset to our region at a time when we're going through a profound change with the loss of federal jobs and contracting jobs. And then at the same time, the data centers require huge amounts of energy. So how can we supply an important economic attribute in the context of our existing climate programs? And we think that there are lots and lots of lessons that can be swapped with Stuttgart, as we've been doing through some formal collaborations with our research and academic and science institutions, but also through some of our commercial partners. Just want to say it's such a privilege to be able to be part of this. So I want to say thanks to everybody for and most of all to our friends in Stuttgart for helping us join.
Wonderful. Thank you both for a twinned tandem presentation. We are really late, but it's been extremely interesting to hear from everybody. What I'd like to do is ask you if there are any burning questions, burning comments, anything that really you feel needs to be said right now. Otherwise, I'm going to move us into our next roundtable, which means we will only be 4 minutes behind. And then if anything comes up at the end, we can bring it up. So anything that needs to be said right now to move the conversation forward. And I'm not seeing anything. Wing, there's nothing coming up that you see either, no?
No, I don't believe
No.
so.
Okay, so thank you to everyone for your presentations and for giving us these insights. I would like to move us now to our next roundtable, which is about successful pathways for industrial transition. And this is going to really spotlight success in practice. I think that's one of the key bits about this project, is that it really is about practice and being practical. So every region in this project was selected because it has, in one way or another, made tangible progress on industrial transition. So now what we want to do is really look at the pathways, the governance drivers, and the conditions that help this process. So again, everyone has 3 minutes for their intervention, and then if there's time, we will move into an open discussion. So to our speakers, I'd just like to remind you, if you could share with us the policy or the initiative that you would like to share, how it was implemented, the evidence of the impact, and what would you do differently next time? And to our listeners, what are the elements that you are hearing that are particularly context specific, so really for that place, and which do you think might be more transferable? And that will also guide our future work. So I'd like to start by giving the floor to Jose Ormaeche, who is the General Director of the Basque Energy Cluster in Spain.
No, no, tranquilo. Hello, thank you. Yes, my name is Jose Ormaeche, and as Cristina introduced me at the beginning, I am the General Manager of the Basque Energy Cluster. It's one of the clusters that is participating in this initiative. I'm going to briefly describe. It's the net.
I'm sorry, Jose, we have a little bit of a hard time hearing you. If you can either come closer to the microphone or...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Okay, so maybe now better? Yes?
Much better, thank you, yes.
Okay, yes. So I was saying that our initiative, in the title, you can see some of the special features of the initiative because it's about making the industry in the Basque Country evolve and transition towards the net zero emissions processes. And it has been built, the initiative has been led by the Basque government, the regional government. I think it's one of the key drivers of this initiative. The success or the so far successful activities has to do with the Basque government taking the lead of the initiative. And it has been built on an existing cluster policy. So it's not, that's why we call it a super cluster, because it's not just a cluster of companies or entities, but it's built on existing clusters. The Basque Country has run a cluster policy since the 90s, so it's more than 30 years working with companies collaborating around cluster associations. In the next slide, we can see the objective of the initiative, that is to reduce and by 2030 to by 2040 to abide all the emissions of the industrial sector. You can see there that more than 1/3 of the total CO2 emissions in the Basque Country come from 5 industrial sectors. Cristina said at the beginning that we are a very industrialized region with around 25% of our GDP coming from industry, from different sectors. And in the next slide, that I think it's the one that I will use mostly in this last minute, you can see briefly the summary of the 5 clusters that gather energy-intensive industries in the Basque Country. It's refining, pulp and paper, foundry, steel, and cement. These clusters exist since many decades ago, but now the Basque government has put them together to work around this initiative, to look for synergies and to look for collaboration to reduce in their industrial processes the emissions. And the other cluster that is also working is ours, the energy cluster. And we are offering to all these energy-intensive companies our technologies, our value chains around those technologies. You can see over there, energy efficiency, electrification and alternative fuels, green hydrogen, and carbon capture. So it's about making collaboration possible between those companies that need to improve their processes and reduce the emissions, and those companies in the Basque Country that are able to offer solutions, offer equipment, offer systems to make it possible. So it's a twofold objective of the initiative. One, decarbonize the industry, but second, to make it possible that those technologies or most of the systems and technologies needed for that decarbonization could be developed and could be implemented by research centers, companies, and entities working here regionally and collaborating with other companies around the world, but making it possible to implement those technologies here in the Basque industry. In the bottom of the slide, you can see the Basque government, as I said before, the one that is the entity that is leading all this initiative, the consortium of research centers that are having a very relevant role in providing the technology. And we have to mention also the World Economic Forum as a framework initiative in which we have been working the last 4 years. This initiative started in 2021. And we mentioned also EPRI, the research center, the American Research Center, that has supported us a lot, because many of these technologies, I would say most of the technologies that have to be developed for this industrial transition have to be also based on collaboration with leading research centers and companies all around the world. So EPRI has been very supportive to us to make it possible, for instance, to identify this collaboration with the Center for Houston's Future. That is one of the clusters from which we expect also to learn about their expertise in green hydrogen, as it was mentioned before. Finally, I will mention also the energy companies that are relevant, of course, for providing the renewable energies and the clean energies for the future. And what would we make different if we started again? But well, probably the lessons learned is that we have to rely more on the leading role of those associations. I would say the cluster association has showed that it's very relevant to make it possible to coordinate collaboration between many different industries, very different, let's say, cultures and processes. So probably we started from the beginning, maybe the energy companies would have their role, but the main characters we think are in many occasions these intermediary organizations that can provide very easily the contact with a lot of different stakeholders. And that's all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, and for highlighting the role of associations. I would like to now turn to Laura Goldberg, please.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I have been taking notes, and I'm changing up my remarks just a little bit because I've already had some learnings just from what I've heard so far. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Center's clean hydrogen work and really how we built a successful base that's led to concrete action. So we always like to think as we do our work, both in the micro and the macro, focusing on making one-on-one connections at the same time, building out the relevant ecosystem. So when we started our hydrogen work, we had already looked at what were the gaps and the opportunities in the Houston region, specifically around energy transition. And there were 4 areas, 3 of the areas, there were active players in the space, be it in government, business, and or industry. And there were no sort of convening or catalyzing actions happening in clean hydrogen at that point. So we saw a gap. Then we set about trying to gather data and lay a common groundwork for a vision that, you know, parties across the value chain could use as a starting point. So really focusing on where we could get consensus. So working with some donated resources, which always helps when you're a nonprofit, with McKinsey and the region's Chamber of Commerce, and input from literally 100 different voices. We created a roadmap and a vision for creating a global clean hydrogen ecosystem, you know, with a focus obviously on Greater Houston being the leader. And so once we have that common roadmap and vision, which we published and widely available, different parties could also take it and use it. But then when the federal programs became available, we had something we were ready to spring into action. So we sort of segmented our work. We kept the broader hydrogen ecosystem work, and then we, working with some partners, co-organized and co-founded what would become the High Velocity Hub. So, you know, another example of one project, and then we also kept our separate work on the ecosystem. And so in the ecosystem work, we've had over the time more than 40 companies across the value chain involved. And this work has spun off broad work streams, but it's also an example of the power of convening and connection. So we've actually enabled a pilot program with the Houston airport system that is underway, and that has Airbus, and it also has another unnamed big energy company involved. We have enabled actual bringing of partners together for one-on-one concrete projects that have happened. We worked with partners on a state level framework, and so legislation has been passed. that involves some funding available for transportation pilots and projects that will be
Laura?
getting underway. And
Sorry, can
yes.
you maybe give us an idea as to what you might do differently next time? Because we're running out of time.
Running out of time. Okay. So that's a good question. And I think what we might do differently, and we have, since begun this, is really focus on the available different shift sooner to a focus on the available different messaging for people. So everyone who comes to the table in the project may be doing it for different reasons. And so clearly delineating, so when people go out to their companies, their communities, benefit. So if you're simply interested in reducing emissions, you have a package of messaging and focus for reducing emissions. If you're focused on creating new jobs, you have that message clearly and consistency. If you're focused on growing GDP or developing international relationships, and just to have that in buckets, segmented and readily available.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to now turn to Christoph Vetter, who is from the University of Applied Sciences in Münster in Germany.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon. I'm working at the University of Applied Sciences in Münster, and we have a multi-layer cooperation, not only within North Rhine-Westphalia, like Katrin mentioned, but also with the University of Minnesota and our partners in Minnesota within the Climate Smart Municipalities project. And Mike will speak about that later on. And I will present today one of the projects which we are doing together with a company, with a community of Saarbeck. Saarbeck is a small municipality in North Rhine-Westphalia, with about 7,000 inhabitants. And the idea of the ministry in North Rhine-Westphalia was in 2008 to run a competition to find the climate smart municipality in North Rhine-Westphalia, showing how to do in reality the energy transition. And Saarbeck was one of the winners, one of two winners, and was winning 1.1 million euros at that time. And please go to the next slide. And within the competition, Saarbeck developed more than 150 activities. And this is not the underground plan of Saarbeck, but this shows all these activities which were carried out beginning 2009 until today. And the idea is to be carbon neutral in all sectors, in the electricity, in the heat, and also in the mobility by 2030 at any time. And up to now, the first step of being independent from power is done. More than 400% of the needed power in Saarbeck is produced within the city or the community. And there is also a bioenergy park, which was an ammunition park before that. You can see in the background of my photo, there is a sample what you can see there. We have more than 7 windmills, for example, there. And there are biogas plants, and there's a PV power plant, and so on. But this is not the only idea to carry out all the projects to produce the energy, but also the aspect of education is very important for us. And you can switch to the next slide. And Saarbeck has had more than 200,000 visitors during the last 15 years from all over the world. And the idea is to share the experience which we made in Saarbeck all together with as many people as possible. And that's the reason why we are happy to be within this project. And you can see here visitors from all over the world. We are starting our education with the young investigators in the kindergarten, and even up to aged people. We have a lot of ideas and possibilities. And since 2017, SABEC has a close cooperation with Morris in Minnesota and is also part of the Climate Smart Municipalities Network, which is very important for us. And Mike Rees will show one of the projects which Mike is doing with his group in Minnesota. And we are also, as university, located now in the Bioenergy Park doing research there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christoph, very much. So now let's just move seamlessly into Mike Rees from the West Central Research and Outreach Center at the University of Minnesota at Morris in the U.S.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to visit with you today. First, I'll probably start with your question. What would we do differently? I think we'd lead more into the Climate Smart Municipality Project under the leadership of Dr. Sabina Engel, and with Professor Better's support there. That's just been a tremendous opportunity for us. I think it's the best engagement model I've ever seen. And just working at the grassroots level at our small and large communities, I think that's a key for all of us to have those dialogues. I'd like to, if you could advance to the next slide, please. I'd like to talk a little bit about Minnesota and the opportunity to transition into our industrial base. Minnesota has many natural resources that lend itself to decarbonizing industry. We have legacy industries in our mining and iron and agriculture areas, along with construction and aviation. So if you look at Minnesota, we have high levels of wind resource, in addition with our partners or our neighbors to the west in North Dakota and South Dakota, some of the highest wind resources in the world, combined with our solar resources, that really forms a good basis. We also have one of the world's largest supplies of iron ore. We provide 75% of the nation's iron ore, which counts for about 2% globally. If you look at that industry, the iron and steel industry, that counts for about 6 to 7% of world greenhouse gas emissions. And so that's an opportunity for us. Agriculture accounts for about 20-25% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. Minnesota ranks in top 5 of most of the commodities for the U.S. And so we have a very strong agricultural base. So if you look at those two industries, we've formed an initiative called the Minnesota Industrial Transition Initiative, or MIGHTY. And we are pursuing green nitrogen fertilizer. Green fertilizer accounts for about 2% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. And then we're also pursuing green iron and green steel. If you could switch to the next slide, please. In addition, I should mention that we've worked with partners on Sustainable Aviation Fuel Hub, along with Delta and other companies to address that area, which is 2.5% of the greenhouse gas emissions. My focus has been on green nitrogen fertilizer. Ammonia is a nitrogen fertilizer source, but it's also a precursor to many of the nitrogen fertilizers. If you look at some of our work, nitrogen fertilizer accounts for about 36% of our corn production energy footprint. And so that's a drop-in replacement that farmers can use. Ammonia can also be used as a hydrogen carrier for other applications, such as power generation or transportation fuel. And we had established the first wind-to-ammonia pilot plant in the world back in 2013. We're currently under construction, next generation pilot plant. Next slide, please. So with that, again, we formed the Midwest Industrial Transformation Initiative, and we are currently looking at developing a green iron, green steel pilot plant at scale and along with many green nitrogen fertilizer plants across the state. So with that, I'll close. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mike. And I would like to now move us to Slovenia, to Maja, if you can. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon again. It's a great pleasure to present the story of the Sava region in Slovenia, a small post-coal region that is today reshaping its future through regenerative and industrial transformation. The Regional Development Agency plays a central role in this process, not only coordinating projects, but also shaping policy and ensuring that our transition is inclusive, innovative, and future-oriented. Next slide. Thank you. Our transformation is built on 3 key pillars. First, the strategic project and just transition implementation. We are the co-managers of EU Just Transition Fund, so we coordinate investments that have the greatest long-term impact. One flagship project is the Development, Demonstration and Training Center for Carbon-Free Technologies. This center is established by the National Institute of Chemistry, and it represents the first scientific research institution in the Zasavia region, bringing cutting-edge research, high-value jobs, and new industrial partnership to our area. The second pillar, the SMEs and startup ecosystem with a strong focus on education. Through the PLED, the Zasavia Learning Hub project, which is recently started, we are building green digital entrepreneurial skills among young people, from kindergarten to the secondary school. What makes it unique is that it engages all schools and all students in Zasavia, integrating new competencies directly into curriculum, not as extracurricular activities. This systems-wide approach is the first of its kind in Slovenia. And the third, green and digital skills development for the workforce. We are working with local businesses and training providers to ensure that reskilling and lifelong learning are aligned with the needs of the future industries. Next slide, please. And the question is why this model works for us. Because of strong governance and coordination. RDA Zasavia brings together municipalities, ministries, research institutions, and local communities under one strategic framework. Because of targeted funding strategies, every euro of just transition support is directed towards long-term transformation, not only short-term fixes. Because of industrial diversification, we are building new sectors in research, education, and green and digital technologies. And because of innovative practices like PLED, the Zasavia Learning Hub, which is developing future skills across an entire region's education system. Next slide. And now allow me to close this with one key lesson. Zasavia shows that even small coal regions can become living laboratories of regenerative industrial transformation. With a clear vision, strong partnership, and an active role in managing transition policies and funds, we are turning post-coal decline into opportunities for innovation, workforce adaptation, and sustainable growth. In short, from black to green, the new story of Zasavia. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya, very much. I'd like to now turn to Roland Boekings, who's the Health Campus Manager in Limburg, Belgium.
Yes, hello. Okay, I'll introduce you to the region of Limburg, which is in the east.
Oops, we've lost you, Roland. We can't hear you. Roland. Wing, is this a problem on our side or a problem on Roland's?
I believe
it's a problem with his computer. He just texted me. He's coming back in a minute, so just go ahead with the next.
Okay, so let's move to Mona Engian, who is the Assistant Vice President and Deputy Head of the Ontario Vehicle Innovation Network, and we'll come back to Roland when he gets back to us.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to speak with you today. So if you go to the next slide, please. So the Ontario Vehicle Innovation Network, or OVIN, is the Government of Ontario's flagship initiative on automotive and mobility innovation. So it's a core part of Driving Prosperity, which is the Government of Ontario's 10-year plan to build the car of the future and strengthen Ontario's supply chain, because automotive is such a critical part of our economy. It represents hundreds of thousands of jobs and billions in GDP. And what makes Ontario unique and what Oven builds upon is our tremendous strengths. So we have a world-class manufacturing ecosystem. We have a wealth of critical minerals that are essential for batteries and EVs. We have top research institutions. We have a highly skilled and diverse workforce, and we're the only subnational jurisdiction that is home to 5 OEMs. So all these things make Ontario one of the most competitive jurisdictions in the world for automotive and mobility innovation. And so at Oven, our work focuses on 3 main areas. One is the commercialization of next generation technologies. We focus on workforce planning and talent development and sector and ecosystem development. So you could go to the next slide, please. So this gives a snapshot of some of our programs that are across this technology commercialization continuum. So essentially what we're trying to do is help Ontario companies bring their technologies from idea to market. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the programs. Our incubator program supports new ventures and IP commercialization in partnership with industry. So this is a program that we've launched with founding partner Mercedes-Benz. We have our regional technology development sites. So these are sites across the province that provide access to companies for things like specialized equipment and business supports that help with their commercialization endeavors. We have an R&D partnership fund. So it's a co-investment fund that helps technologies be commercialized. Companies need to work with a partner, and for every dollar that Ontario puts in, the industry partners put in $2. So it's proved very well to help bring technologies along that commercialization scale. We have a talent development program, so that's helping companies access top-tier talent and giving students an opportunity to get real-world experience. We have a number of technology adoption and deployment programs. So essentially, we are working with municipalities and other infrastructure owner-operators to provide real-world environments where companies can test and validate their innovations, and in some case, work with potential customers who are interested in procuring these technologies. And then we have a Going Global program. So this is an initiative where we leverage some of the strategic partners that we have with international jurisdictions, such as Germany, Taiwan, and Korea. We're helping Ontario companies connect with international markets and customers. Next slide, please. And so, as I mentioned, we also focus on workforce development. So these are programs that are building the talent pipeline. Creating opportunities to build that early talent pipeline and engage students, while also supporting the current workforce to upskill and reskill, and then really focusing on initiatives that drive collaboration between industry and our post-secondary institutions. And then, of course, we focus on ecosystem building. So this is really about bringing together all the players and convening them to be able to drive the sector forward. We drive a lot of thought leadership and host events and communities of practice to help the advancement of the sector and supporting the adoption of these technologies. And so everything that we're doing as a result, we've seen a great deal of investment in Ontario, over $46 billion in electric vehicle and battery manufacturing just in the past few years. And we're also driving economic outcomes. So we're helping companies to scale and helping to create things like new jobs and supporting follow-on investment and new customers for our companies as a result of our programs. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Mona. Is Roland back with us?
Yes, I'm back.
Excellent. Okay. Let's hear from you then.
Okay. I'm very sorry. I think my computer wanted to decide for me that it's already the weekend, just crashed. Anyway. Let me shortly introduce you to the region of Limburg, which is situated in the east of Belgium, the northern part of Belgium. Which, as some other regions you've heard today, originally in the 70s was a heavy coal mining industry region with a height of an employment of 21,000 people working in the coal mines. And as in many places, the coal mining industry, of course, declined. Then we had the main employer at that point then became Ford Motor Company with at its height 14,000 people working there, and Philips, the electronics brand, with about 4,000 people working there. So we transitioned from a mining region to and then an industrial region in the 70s, 80s. Next slide. Unfortunately, both these large employers closed down, which of course was a big blowback economically for our region. What you see on the picture here is in fact an old gold mining site that has been reconverted now to an innovation park. This has not been done at random. We have, after the closure of the Ford Motor Company factory, there was a strategic regional plan initiated by both the Flemish government at the northern part of Belgium and the provincial government called the SALK plan, with a major reconversion investment. And that plan defined a couple of spearhead economic sectors to invest in. This was a combination of sectors where the basic needs were there from our pulp-dependent history, but also new sectors such as life sciences, and I'll come back to that later. What you see in the picture is Thor Park in Genk, an old coal mining site that is now a site for smart manufacturing innovation, in part based on the experience, of course, with the Ford Motor Factor Company and other industrial experience in the region. So next slide. So the SALK plan was until 2019, and then the new plan was forged, called SALK Turbo or SALK 2.0, depending who you ask. But and I just put this picture on there to show you the network that is behind the drafting of the SALK Turbo program. And what is important here is that this is not a plan that has been developed by, for instance, a consultancy agency or by government itself. It was a real collaboration between the different Helix partners. So there were, of course, government agencies such as the Provincial Development Company, who is central in this network, as you can see, who was coordinating the drafting of the program, but was heavily supported by academic expertise from the Hasselt University, which is in our region. And then a heavy involvement of both parties from industry and from civil society. This plan was drafted in 2019 and established 4 big lines with a couple of ambition lines under these 4 lines. And one of the examples, I don't have the time here, of course, to go into all the different ambition lines. We're given 3 minutes, so I'll be very short. But one of the ambition lines was to become a leading healthcare lab in the EU region through digitization. In the EU region, in our case, is because we are very close to the German and the Netherlands borders, and this is what we call a EU region. So one of the ambition lines was to become a leading healthcare lab in the region through digitization. I'll just go to the next slide then to show you how that translated then to projects and to the policy itself. What we are currently, this is under construction, but this is the Open Innovation Center on Health Campus. So Health Campus was developed as part of that ambition line. We were able to access European funding because this was in line with the regional strategy, which in itself was again in line with the strategy of the Flemish government on that level. And this is under construction, our Open Innovation Center, where we again will try to activate the interaction between the civil society, especially healthcare network parties, industry, and academia on systems and process innovation in healthcare. I won't go into detail in that today, but this is an example how we went from strategy to concrete projects fitting in that strategy in spearhead sectors that have been defined in co-creation with society. So not just government policy, but government policy in co-creation with society.
Great.
The region
Thank
as
you.
a whole.
Roland,
Yes?
we have to wrap up. So
Yep. Okay.
is that
So,
okay?
yeah. So what would we do? The question you asked is what would we do differently?
Yeah.
Well, I think the most important is to keep in mind the incentives that you install in these strategies, and and keep in mind how they translate to the different stakeholders, because the university, for instance, is a completely different governance system than in industry. You have to be really careful how you design your incentives.
Okay, great. Thank you very, very much to all of our speakers. I'm going to do the same as I did the last time. We are late. I'd ask everyone to indulge us for a few additional minutes past 4:45 in Paris, or whatever 45 that is where you are. And if does anyone have any burning issues, burning questions, anything that must be said now, or else the weekend can't begin? No. Okay, good. So I'd like to now turn this over to my colleague Jeroen, who I think almost all of you have met, for a bit of an overview on the project itself.
Hello, and thank you to everyone. So to start with, and in the interest of time, I'll keep it short. Let's just take another look at the objectives of this project. So the first objective is to strengthen the policy dialogue on industrial transition between regions on each side of the Atlantic, and to build meaningful and long-lasting connections. Second, to provide a platform for sharing successful policies and tools that shape the industrial transition at the regional level. And third, to develop a policy framework for regions in industrial transition. And this policy framework is one of the outputs that hopefully will inspire other regions of this project as well. So this brings us to the how. How are we going to try to achieve this in the course of this project over the next 2 years? So on this slide, you can see the timeline with an overview of the project activities. On the left are the activities in which all participating regions will be involved collectively. And in parallel, on the right, are the twin-based activities. So after this launch event, we'll dive in right away with a series of hybrid seminars on key drivers of industrial transition in regions. And we've discussed them already throughout the session: strategic governance, technology and innovation, energy and climate, and demography, employment, and skills. These seminars are scheduled in the coming months. Then moving to the right, in parallel, in 2026, we'll conduct the twin-based transatlantic case studies. This will involve a mission and a field visit where each twin can visit and meet each other. The case studies aim to deepen the understanding of successful policy practices in their specific context. To plan for these case studies and the related field visits, we'll set up a meeting with each twin in the coming weeks so we can agree on a suitable timing and a program that is convenient for everybody involved. Then, in 2027, towards the end of the project, we'll switch back to the collective activities with the wider group of participating regions. We'll provide a platform for networking and sharing learnings from the seminars and the case studies into peer learning events, one on each side of the Atlantic. And then at the very end of the project, we'll invite all participating regions to a transatlantic forum at the OECD in Paris. The objective of the forum is to provide another opportunity for networking and exchange among all participating regions, but also to present the findings of the project and to launch the policy framework to a wider community of regions in industrial transition. In this way, we hope to inspire others with the work that we have accomplished. And then now a few words on the upcoming activities in the next months, in particular the hybrid seminars. So as mentioned, these seminars will focus on key drivers of industrial transition. We'll tap into the rich experience of all the regions around the table, and we'll also mobilize OECD expertise from other parts of our house. The goal is to organize seminars on each side of the Atlantic, so regions from the same side of the Atlantic can gather and meet each other. Regions from the other side of the Atlantic can participate online. A first hybrid seminar is taking place next month already in Paris for the European regions and online for North American regions. The seminar will explore the strategic governance dimension of industrial transition, how effective multi-level governance can provide better outcomes, how practical coordination mechanisms can make the industrial transition work across policy sectors, how to build institutional capabilities, and which of these factors travel across contexts, how they can be adapted to different territorial realities. We'll share a detailed agenda and information on the logistics for this event in the coming days. A second seminar will focus on how technology and innovation is shaping the industrial transition at the regional level. There is still an opportunity to host this seminar in North America, so in case of interest, do let us know. The third seminar will focus on how regions can drive the climate and energy transition, and we are delighted that the seminar will take place in North Rhine-Westphalia, in the city of Münster to be precise. The seminar will be hosted by the Industrie- und Handelskammer Nordwestfalen, and I would like to invite Sebastian von Deel from the Industrie- und Handelskammer Nordwestfalen to share a few thoughts on this event. Sebastian, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jeroen. I hope you can hear me. Yes? Okay, good, perfect. Yeah, my name is Sebastian van Deel. I'm working for the Chamber of Commerce and Industry North Westphalia in Münster. And yeah, I'm responsible for digitization, industry, and international affairs. And I'm a driving partner of the cross-border project Dutch-German Techland. I already also saw some friends from the Netherlands. Yeah, and we are happy to invite you here for the OECD Energy and Climate Workshop in 2026 here in NRW in the Climate City Münster, which is also a great connection to the city of Rochester in Minnesota and general to Minnesota. So Sabine, happy to see you and all other friends from Minnesota. So as you maybe know, and this is just a little information because I think it's interesting, Münster is also the city of the Westphalian Peace from 1648, where Catholics and Protestants made peace in Europe after 35 years of war. And I think it's an important example for these times and to have a look at it, to get somehow to peace back to peace. So we are a good place to bring people together, not only for Europe, but from all over the world. But you should also know that our region is a part of the Ruhr area, not Münster exactly, but the southern part of our district, well known for coal and steel. And we are in a deep industry and energy transformation with very energy intensive companies, off-takers, for instance, in the hydrogen sector, so like steel, brick producers, but also with a lot of chemistry and concrete industry. So that's also the reason why we are already producing more than 35% of our energy from renewables. Christoph already mentioned the bioenergy park in Saarbeck. And we built, and that is maybe interesting for the workshop, one of the first transnational hydrogen pipelines and storage systems now here in our region, and one of the biggest battery research facilities for industrial research. So we are excited, very excited to welcome you in Münster, but we are also very excited to invite you to our Dutch-German Techland Experience Festival in these days, where we also showcase our core technology in the Dutch-German context with batteries, hydrogen, circular economy, advanced manufacturing, and health and medtech. So I hope I was not too long, and I can give you some more information in the chat.
You were just fine, Sebastian. Thank you very much. And Jeroen, are we wrapped up with the project? Can I close us out?
Yeah, almost. I just wanted to thank Sebastian. Vielen Dank. We're really looking forward to meeting you and your team in Münster and shaping, of course, this seminar together. The last activity that was on the slides, but I'm not going to show my screen again, was the fourth seminar the fourth and last seminar in this series on what we call the human dimension of industrial transition. So demography, employment, and skills. There's an opportunity to host a seminar in North America. So in case of interest, let us know. And I think this presentation hopefully gave you an overview of the activities and next steps. And with that, Verinia, back to you.
Thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to going to Munster. I would like to now take this opportunity to close us out, first by turning to the European Commission, who has so generously pioneered this topic and is supporting this project, and hand the floor to Enrico Pesaerisi. I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing your last name properly.
It's okay.
Who is the Deputy Head of Unit at DG Regio. Please, Enrico.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Marina. And thank you everybody for joining this event with such passion and such amount of information and details. I see a lot of motivations for the regions involved, which actually confirms that the selection process that took so long was inactively extremely effective and accurate, in at the same time bringing together regions that are extremely motivated in this, are facing very own specific transitions where learning can be taken across, and also are very interested in joining this project. I just noticed a few things. I know we are late. First that I see that this project doesn't come from scratch, but builds on things that were already in place. First, the previous projects that the OECD carried out with us in the context of industrial transition, building already knowledge and trust and joint expertise. I also noticed with pleasure the fact that in more than one case, the regions were already engaged in a pre-existing partnership, or in any case, exchange of best practice relationship, which certainly is the preconditions for making this project effective. And finally, I see the enormous scope here for peer learning and cooperation. I notice with pleasure that the variety of the different aspects of the industrial transition that were brought forward by the different presentations by the member states and the regions, just to mention a few: the decarbonization and the general element, the upskilling and reskilling, most proper to our just transition activity of DG Regio. The research and innovation and SME focused of some of the regions involved, and also the digital element of it, being AI or deep data powered. These are all aspects of our policy. These are things on which we invest, and we take this project also as a learning opportunity for us to see how to direct our policy for now and for the futures towards the most effective solutions. And so we hope not just that you learn from each other, but also from us to learn from you and from the experience you're going through. Not much else to enjoy, to say. I really looking forward to the continuation of these 2-year projects. The events were scheduled, and I really also look forward to see the engagement of the different regions involved, and this evolving into something tangible and useful for everybody. I thank also everybody who took part in this, both speaking and listening, and I thanks in particular the OECD, who is hosting and carrying out this, and my colleague Hélène, who's been in fact coordinating this on our side for all this time. Thank you all.
Thank you, Enrico. And yes, thank you very much, I'd like to say, to Hélène for all of the work that she has put into moving this project forward on the side of the Commission. So I'd like, if you could indulge me just for one moment, as I'd also like to highlight 3 points that have been coming out of this conversation that I think are going to be important as we move forward. The first is that what is extremely clear over this conversation and in time and the work that you shared is that regions have a very strong appetite to exchange and to learn from each other on what works to manage industrial transitions. Second, as we've been hearing, there is no single pathway to transition. There's no single pathway to success. There are a lot of different trajectories, and it's what you make of that possibility, and it's the policy choices that are made that carry you forward in that trajectory that can lead to the success. And third, I would like to just highlight, I think this project is extremely timely, and it's timely for the issue of all of the transformations everyone is going through, but also it's timely because of so much change and shifts, of the number of change and shifts that are happening in the world. But I think one of the main points behind that is that it's also extremely important, and that's what we're hearing today, to be proactive in this process, not just reactive. Things aren't industrial transition isn't happening to you. It is what you make of it to move forward and transform proactively. We are going to be focusing on all of this and also on the transferability of successful practices across contexts, across oceans, and the point is to deliver results on the ground. So with that, I would like to thank all of our participants who joined us, all of our regions, for dedicating not only time today, but the time in advance, to thank you for the time you're going to be dedicating over the next 2 years to this project. To the European Commission, certainly to Hélène and Enrico, and Anna, but also to Peter Berkowitz, who has been really driving this concept forward since 2017. And I'd also like to thank Jeroen and Wing at the OECD for putting together this kickoff event, because they've been working really hard at it. So thanks to everyone. Have a wonderful weekend and a very good day and weekend for those of you on the other side of the Atlantic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.